Hi, in this video, we're going to talk about EIGRP for IPv4, automatic summarization. Okay, so here's our network topology. And notice we've already have all the interfaces configured and all three routers are running EIGRP. There's the configurations. Okay, route summarization. So what route summarization does is it groups contiguous networks together. Okay, so that allows the receiving router to receive a single route instead of multiple routes. Okay. The idea of summarization is it decreases the number of entries in a routing table, which first of all reduces the bandwidth utilization for sending those routing updates, but also results in faster routing table lookups. Okay, it's easier to find something when there's fewer things to look through. So EIGRP for IPv4 includes both automatic summarization on a classful network boundary. We'll talk about that in a moment, and manual summarization. IPv6 only does manual summarization because there's no concept of classes in IPv6. Okay. So in the old days, we had class A, B, and C networks with /18, /16, and /24 masks. When EIGRP is enabled for automatic summarization, what happens is when we have subnets that fall under one of these classes, for example, 172.16, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0/24 subnets are actually a class B subnet with a default mask of /16. When there's another network that does not belong to that specific network, okay, then it will actually and it's configured EIGRP for automatic summarization. It will actually summarize that network using its classful mask /16. Okay, so router R2 only has the 172.16.00/16 entry in its routing table. Okay, so this used to be the default prior to iOS 15 and 12.2. The default now is no auto summary under the router EIGRP command. Okay, if you want to enable automatic summarization, or what used to be the default was auto summary. So router R3 will actually receive a summary route of, will now, without automatic summarization, because the default is no auto summary, will receive all three of these subnets, 172.16, 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. Okay, and we can actually see that on R1. Right now it is configured. Automatic summarization is disabled, which is now the default. Okay, if we enable automatic summarization using the auto summary command, and we normally would do that on all of our routers, okay, now router R3 is going to receive a summary instead of the individual subnets. Okay, so this is what R3's routing table looked like prior, and this is what it looks like now. So now it is receiving only a single /16 instead of multiple /24s and a /30. Okay, we can verify this on the topology table in R3. Notice that it actually only contains the 172.16.00/16. Okay. In R1, if we were to enable automatic summarization, okay, it would show automatic summarization is now enabled. Before it was disabled, then we enabled it. Okay. So what does that mean? It means that R1 is actually going to summarize the 192.168.10.4 network and any other 192.168 networks it learns about to R2 as a Class C network. It also means that it's going to advertise the 172.16 subnets that we saw before to R3. It's going to advertise those in the red. It's going to advertise those to R3 as a Class B network. Okay, so what also happens then in R1's routing table, this can look a little confusing, but it creates something called a null zero route. Okay, null zero summary route. So for any route that it summarizes, it actually adds this summary route. Why does it do that? Well, let's take a look at from the perspective of this 172.16.0.0 network and the null zero route. R1 knows about several 172.16 subnets. Okay, knows about the /24, the /20, 1.0/24, the 2.0/24, and even the 3.0/30. Okay, and so it says, okay, I am summarizing this route. Okay, that's what it's doing right here. It's summarizing the 172.16.0.0/16 to R3. So in the old days when we had classful networks, it meant that I had that entire network. If I have this entire 172.16.0.0/16, if any subnets that belong to this network would belong to me. And so if I get a packet for something other than something specific in my routing table, I'm going to drop it because it doesn't exist. And dropping it means I send it to null zero. Okay. This will make sense. Let's take a look at an example here of a routing loop example here, and that will help us make sense of it a little bit better. Okay, so here's an example of what would happen is if we didn't have that null zero. Okay, so router A has a default route pointing to the ISP. Okay, it advertises that default route to router B. Okay, let's say we're running EIGRP automatic summarization. Router B says, oh, great, I've got a default route out of my network via router A. Now, router B has been configured or knows about these three subnets /24s. They're actually part of that class B network space 172.16.0.0. Okay, because we're doing summarization, it summarizes it as 172.16.0.0/16 to router A. Router A goes, great. Now I have a summary route. I know how to get to anything to do with 172.16.0.0/16. Anything matching these first 16 bits, 172.16.0, I'm going to send those to router B, right? So what happens if router A gets a packet for 172.16.4.10? Well, it says those first 16 bits match 172.16, so I send them to router B. Router B gets it and goes, I don't have a route for 172.16.4.10, but I do have a default route back to router A, so it sends those packets to router A. Well, guess what router A does? Sends them back to router B, and router B back to router A, and we get ourselves a little routing loop. Okay, so what the null zero route is used is to help prevent that loop from happening. Okay, same default route on router A, sends it to router B. Router B says, great, I have a default route to router A. I also have three subnets, okay, that I'm going to summarize. But because I'm doing summarization, I'm going to take that classful boundary, 172.16.0.0/16, and do a null zero. So let's see what that's at null zero summary route. That happens automatically. Router B advertises the summary route to router A. Router A puts it in its routing table. Router A now has that packet that's going to that some mystery network, 172.16.4.10, and says, oh, I've got that summary route. My best match is not the default route, it's the summary route because it matches 16 bits. Remember, the default would be, if nothing else matched, 0 bits. Okay, so 172.16.4.10, send it to router B. Router B goes, hey, I don't have a specific route for that, but I do have a route that covers anything in 172.16. If I don't know how to get there, I'm going to just drop it so I don't send it back to you. Okay, and so he puts it in the bit bucket, as we call it. Okay, drops the packet. And that's what prevents the routing loop. All right, so that's a little bit about EIGRP, IPv4 automatic summarization. Not really used too much anymore. Okay, so that's why it's disabled by default.